Developing your biceps. Everyone in the gym is just telling you all you gotta do is just a couple curls a week and you know, that peak will come in for you. But you've been doing that and it hasn't been working. You've been doing those same 2 bicep exercises over and over again, 1 time a week. You're not seeing any development in your biceps. Maybe you need to take these 3 tips and add them into your program. Stay tuned for 3 ways to develop your bicep. What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom. Today we're going over 3 different ways to grow your biceps. One of the most common mistakes that people make when they're trying to grow a body part like their biceps, because it is a smaller muscle group, you can tend to think that you can just use the same 2 or 3 exercises once a week and that's going to help you grow your bicep. It's completely not true. Your bicep is just like any other muscle group in your body. You have to confuse it, you have to shock it, you have to give it different things at different angles, using different attachments on the cable, using different hand placements on the dumbbells. So if I'm somebody who's just been doing basic curl and hammer curl, and that's all I do every week after back day or after pull day. I just do a couple sets of basic curl, a couple sets of hammer curl, and that's it. You're probably one of those people who are having problems growing your bicep because you're not confusing the muscle at all. So it's just like if I'm using this preacher curl right here. This particular machine is gonna force my arms to go outward, which is gonna put it at an awkward angle, which in return is going to put a different tension on my bicep. So those are the types of things that you need to do to confuse your bicep. You can also do it by changing up your tempo and intensity. You can use drop set. You could try and run the rack. You could try and take the 30s, the 25s, the 20s, and try and get 6 reps, 6 reps, 6 reps, and that's gonna confuse your bicep just like that alone. Preacher curl, spider curl, even a concentration curl. All of those exercises are gonna put your bicep at awkward angles or different angles than you normally would just standing straight up and down and just curling. Or even if it's a hammer curl, if it's a reverse curl. That angle is gonna give you that slight tweak that you need to confuse the muscle group, and then you can shock it by adding in a lot of volume. You can add in some drop sets, you can add in some supersets. So it's just about hitting your bicep in different ways that you're not doing right now. Working your biceps and confusing them is the same way like you would, you know, if you're doing your chest. I'm not gonna do all dumbbell exercises or just do all machine exercises or just do all body weight exercises. You're not working the muscle in a different way. So if I take those same principles and I apply them to my biceps, then some movements where I'm using both hands, just like I would, you know, with the easy bar curl, the straight bar curl, using both hands and moving the load, trying to balance it between 2 hands. But if I'm isolating it, I get to kind of emphasize just that one bicep and really just focus in on that. So it's also a combination of using exercises where you're isolating the muscle group and you're using exercises where you're using both hands at the same time. The second thing that is killing your bicep gains is your elbow position. So your elbow position is going to make or break your set. It's going to determine how effective that set is going to be. So if I'm using the basic bicep curl, right? I got my elbows positioned somewhere here. This is already damaging my set because I'm pulling up from behind me, and I'm also more inclined to shrug my shoulders up because I'm pulling away behind me. So if I just make one adjustment and I push my elbows a little bit forward, somewhere around here, the front part of my torso, and I pull up from here, this is gonna force me to use my bicep more, and it's also gonna put my arm at a more awkward angle than it would be if I was just straight up and down. But at the same time, your elbow position can ruin the set too. So if I take the dumbbells and I'm doing a basic bicep curl, and I start yanking all the way up here, that's gonna take all the tension off of my bicep at the top portion of the exercise. So I need to make sure that my elbow position is stable, but it's also somewhere at the front part of my torso so I can maximize the movement. Now, even when you're using different types of bicep curls, like this one's just a basic, these principles would apply to the hammer curl as well. Pretty much any curl that you're doing, you know, standing up and you don't have your arm positioned on something else. So like I'm using a drag curl, my elbows are still gonna determine the effectiveness of the set because my elbow position is gonna determine if I'm pulling from my bicep or from my delt. Same way like it will with the basic curl, except the elbow's going towards the back of my body instead of coming upwards. So you need to make sure that your elbow position is in the right place. It's gonna determine whether the set is effective and you're maximizing, getting the most out of it, or it's gonna take tension off your bicep. Third thing that you need to help you grow your bicep, probably the biggest question most people ask, how many exercises do you do a week to grow your bicep? Unfortunately, it's not a clear-cut answer, because if I'm taking a beginner lifter and I'm taking an advanced lifter, they're both gonna need different things to develop the bicep. So if I've just started working out, a month or two ago, and I'm on a push-pull legs, I'm doing that twice a week, so I'm working out 6 days. I got 2 pull days in there. I can just tack on those biceps at the end of that workout, but I don't need to necessarily do 4, 5, and 6 exercises because I've just begun my journey. There's no need to do that many, but as you start getting to the higher intermediate stages, you've been lifted for years, and especially at the advanced stages, you're going to need to do more exercises at different intensities, at different tempos, using different equipment to grow that bicep muscle. You're not gonna just be able to do 2 or 3 exercises and grow that muscle group. I mean, even for myself, I found myself kind of slacking off on my bicep and tricep exercises for that matter. And when that happens, they don't grow. It's just a muscle group in your body that you have to work in order for it to grow. It doesn't matter that it's smaller, doesn't matter that it's attached to your arm. You have to use the same intensity and have that same mentality that you would to grow and develop anything else. Especially those people who have those longer limbs, those taller people, you have a bigger frame to fill out. So you're gonna have to work really hard to fill that frame out. It means you need a lot of volume, you need a lot of reps, and you might need to use more than one day to work your biceps and maybe even your triceps. Just putting that stuff at the end of your pull day, your end of your back day, depending on your split, is gonna help you determine what you need to help you develop your bicep.